so we started excavating our addition, and as you can see, a lot of people keep in mind that you're always going to have extra dirt when you're doing an add-on or addition, so keep in mind that's always a big cost to truck it away and bring it back for backfill that people always overlook in terms of like when they're pricing out the addition. Now, the only thing is, I'll show you the footing. Where the garage is, the original contractor stepped up the footing. So it's 4 feet below ground, but we actually want to go 8 feet. So we have to make a decision on what we're going to do here. I'll show you that as we look at the excavation. And keep in mind that whenever you're doing an addition, add-ons, or big renos, you'll always come up with certain things that you weren't anticipating. Like I had an idea that the footing may have stepped up there, but that's another expense that we're going to have to incur when we're doing it. So keep that in mind, that there's always something that comes up that you're not going to be aware of. So, great. Come out with a little bit of a situation here, which I thought we were hoping that this back wall of the garage was going to be the same height as the house footing. So the house footing is 8 feet down from the top of the wall. I don't want your help. As you can see here, so that's the height of the basement that we were planning to do, and here's the weeping tile that we have to connect to. Now the only problem is the back of the garage wall, when they originally built the house, they've stepped it up because you don't really need a basement under the garage, so a lot of builders will step up at the garage level just to save a little money, and because of and a little bit of concrete, a little bit of block work. So we're going to excavate the basement here. Now the only problem here is if we excavate here, we're going to have a problem with the footing where it's not going to be the load on the house is going to want to kick out. So basically kick out is basically have a failure here, so we don't want to have that. So I've decided to make a decision here where we're not going to underpin this wall because it's just too expensive and it's just too much to do. So we're going to basically, instead of having our basement excavated at this level here, we're going to come out 4 feet and start the wall basically here. So basically, if we do that, that eliminates, that still has this footing secure, because you have to go on a 45-degree angle from the bottom of the footing out to make sure it's still stable. So that's why we're going to start the wall 4 feet, a minimum 4 feet out. We need room for the forming contractor to work, so the actual wall is probably going to end up being 5 feet here. So we're basically going to put a full wall here, and the basement's going to start here, and then here we're going to fill it in, and basically have 4 feet or 5 feet less in the basement. So that way we're not disturbing the original wall of the footing, and we're able to still excavate underneath the addition that we want to put on. So, as I say, there's always some surprises when you're doing additions and renovations, and here's one that I kind of anticipated, but I was hoping that when we dug here it was going to be 8 feet down. So we're going to continue on. Okay, so as you can see, the excavator's done, and he's dug out the full basement where the addition's going, and then where the covered porches, we're gonna have a roof on a covered outdoor living space. You can see he stepped up the footing because we only have to go 4 feet down here, and that's basically the level of the flagstone that's going to be on top. Now, a lot of times, just keep in mind that when you're building and doing an addition, you have to make sure that you're not compromising the weeping tile. Basically, you should have a weeping tile that runs along the bottom of the footing here, and it goes into either a sump pump or it goes out to a storm sewer. Now in our case, as you can see here, over here, Mike, show this here. So we had the weeping tile. Here's the old weeping tile that was around the footing. It was connected here, which is going inside the garage wall, and it's running along here. And our sump pit, basically a sump pit is a sump pump is a pump where the water accumulates around the foundation, goes around the footing, and goes in the weeping tile, which that is there, and then goes into the sump pit or sump pump, and the pump pumps it back outside somewhere. So our sump pit is right here, or our sump pump, and you can see here's where it's connected in. So you need to connect the weeping tile back into the sump pit on both sides, and over here you'll see it's been cut here, so we need to, it's been cut right here. And we need to dig that out, put a proper attachment on that, put it down, put stone on it, get it inspected. Don't forget at this stage here, when you get a permit, you got to call for your footing inspection. Your footing inspection is being done when the concrete forming company comes in and lays out the footing, but before you put concrete in the footing, the inspector has to come in here and approve it. So they're going to be here Monday morning to do that, and we're going to call for the inspection. Hopefully everything's fine. Everything looks okay. The ground is on, or the basement or the footing is on original ground, so there shouldn't be any issues here. And keep in mind that right now we're at the end of winter. It's this is March 4th, and it's freezing at nighttime, so we've got our concrete blankets here. As you can see, we just dumped them in the hole, and what we're going to be doing, we're going to be putting the concrete blankets where the footing is going, just to protect it so no frost gets in the ground. So we're going to be going to do that right now, and we'll see you later. Alright, so as you can see, the excavation's done, and we said we were putting down the concrete blankets. Basically, as you pan around the excavation here, you'll see that you know, when you're building in the winter, you don't want frost. The biggest mistake is getting frost under the footing. So you don't want you want to avoid that at all costs. So we're basically putting the concrete blankets down, and basically what that does is stops the frost from getting in the ground. So when we come back the next day, we pull them up, and it's nice and dry down. Not nice and dry, but nice and thawed. There's no frost in the ground, so we can go ahead and pour the footing in the winter. So that's a good thing. And also, if you'll notice, the surprise that we discovered here is the foundation is wrapped with styrofoam. So that acts as water prevention, but also insulation for inside the basement. So I guess that's a positive that we ran into when we're doing this reno here, or reno the addition on the house. So as I say, you always run into some surprises, and that one's a good surprise. The footing stepped up at the garage was a bad surprise, so we got to shear up that corner of the house. So keep that in mind, that there's always going to be some little things that you're not really aware of, or you're going to come across that you got to overcome. So let's go to the next stage.